Yeah.
Can't be healthy.
Can't be, but it's better than dying.
Better than dying.
And that's the deal. Sometimes you have to make that choice. Sometimes you have to make that choice, right?
On an island. Sorry, do that.
No, it's good. I agree. Sometimes you have to make these choices. This is the difference between understanding hygiene and following blindly as if it was black and white rules. I have an option. You have an option. We could say that it's exceptionally unnatural to wear glasses.
Yeah.
So we can walk around blind.
Yeah,
Or we can use glasses and see really well. And so we make the choice to do something that no one in history has ever been able to do before the last few years, and we wear glasses. And then I had a choice. I had a choice of dying from quinsy or having my glands slashed open, having it cut by a doctor. And I figured, like, cutting the gland beat the crap out of dying. Because I was going to suffocate, because the gland was getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it was going to stop me from breathing.
Glad you did that.
Is that true?
That's true.
Sounds true story? Okay.
That's a true story.
When did that happen? From a long time ago, hopefully.
Like, am I
8 years ago.
When? When did this happen?
8 years ago.
Wow.
And it's what killed George Washington.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, like, okay, I'll just keep fasting. Maybe I'll live through it.
Wow.
But maybe not. My fever's 104.5, and it has been for the last 48 hours. I'm not doing well as far as winning this battle.
Wow.
And Rosie's like, you're going.
Rosie's going, why won't you see a doctor? I said, well, I would see a doctor if there was one here, but I don't see one at the moment. But if he walked in the room, I would see him. And so she made a doctor materialize into the room of my bedroom. And he came in, and I said, hi, Doc. And he said, hi. And he looked at me, and he said, you have quinsy.
He meant COVID.
He did, but it was 8 years ago. He said, you have quinsy.
So is that rare?
I mean, you haven't heard of it before.
Never.
Me neither.
Wow. So you just woke up one day and your glands were...
I mean, I know why it happened, but yeah, but I got exposed to some microfiber from
Oh, right.
dematerializing carpets.
Oh, yeah, that can be...
I had to remove
Scary.
carpets from a house and wasn't wearing a mask.
You weren't wearing a mask. Ouchie.
So when I drove it to the dump to get rid of it all, you know, in the air of it just moved around, and I must have got something. So I get the choice, like, go see the doctor or stick up for my principles.
That's right.
You know, so I always tell people, look, in my system of caring for people, I always figure preserve the life beats the heck out of the, you know, if I have to choose between living or philosophy, philosophy loses every time. Has to, and there will come that situation, which I talked about yesterday, probably at lunch also, that the entire concepts of, no, it wasn't, it was at the afternoon, the entire concepts of hygiene are easy to accept and embrace philosophically when you don't need them. But when push comes to shove and you have to make a decision and your child is running 105.2 fever,
Right.
and the doctors are saying, look, we have to give this boy antibiotics or he's going to die or suffer brain damage or something serious is going to happen. And now the mother is left with like, in the same way that we care more for others than we do for ourselves very often, because it's easier to work on other people than it is on ourselves. The mother's sense of, I need to do something for my daughter or my son, or I need to, you know, do something, doctor. Whereas the hygienic approach is do nothing when nothing is indicated. But when something is indicated, isn't it great to live in 2021 and know that you can get it done? My mom lived for 5 years after brain surgery that would have, from a bleed, from which she would have died within 4 to 6 hours, the doctor said. She'll be dead in 4 to 6 hours if we don't cut her open right now. And I looked at my sister, and my sister and I talked. Actually, I didn't look at her. We were talking over the phone, and said, well, what do you think? She's 89. Like, doctor gives her a 10% chance of living through the surgery anyway. And we both at the same time said, well, if anybody's going to live through this kind of a surgery, it's going to be Mom. Just the nature of the beast. And it'll be Mom. And if we lose her, we lose her. She was going to die anyway, so we're taking no risk. You know? And then they said, but we don't know how much brain function she's going to lose. And you go, well, I mean, that's a risk too, but if anybody's going to come through okay, it's going to be Mom. And then said, doctor went to go do the surgery and got all her records, and it turns out she had been in surgery 6 weeks prior for an elbow problem that they had to cut the surgery short because she went into heart problems. And he says, oh, now that I've read her history, I give her a 7% chance of living. Do you want to, are you sure you want to do this? We go, absolutely. No question. Let's just do it. So I hopped on a plane, and by the time I got to the States, surgery was over. I went to go see her. She was fine. She was fine.
You said she lived 4 more years.
Almost 5.
Wow.
Did you have a hemorrhagic stroke or what?
Yeah, she fell. Fell down a flight of stairs. Actually, not a flight of stairs. She, as best as I can understand how to explain it to you, she was having a TIA.
I'm not certain on the third word, but I think I know.
Go.
Trans-ischemic attack?
Transient ischemic
It is
attack. She was not conscious, but she was walking, and she walked off some steps that were 3 steps at my niece's house down to a heavily carpeted living room, but it was 3 steps down, but she had no idea there were steps there at all because she was not conscious at that point. She had just. And so when you walk off of steps but you don't know that there's steps there, you fall in a
weird way.
Yeah, a little weird way, right?
Yeah.
It's a little weird the way you fall. And she fell and went down on her side, and then her head smacked the heavily carpeted floor, and she was out cold. And then she came to and said, I'm fine. And got up, but within 4 hours she was not fine, and by 5 hours she was obviously in trouble. And my sister had the wherewithal to take her to the hospital, even though it was 1 a.m. And took her to the hospital, and had she not done that right then and there, my mom would have been dead by morning.
Like the blood was.
Yeah, she had a bleed. Yeah, and you can't compress the fluid, so instead the fluid compresses the brain, and it causes brain death.
Oh, especially if she has high blood pressure.
No, low blood pressure.
Low blood pressure.
But fluid, you can't compress the fluid.
That's right.
So your sister found your mom on the floor?
No, they were at a family gathering. Everybody was there. They saw her fall.
Oh, they seen her fall.
They saw her fall, but nobody was close enough to her that they could catch her.
Yeah.
Couldn't jump and catch her fast enough. Nobody even thought to, because she's just walking down the stairs. She knows to be crazy. The thing is, she knows to be crazy careful when she goes downstairs. She has been for a decade. And this time she just walked. It's a staircase that's 8 feet wide, right? Because it's only 3 steps from one room into another, so it's probably 8 feet wide. And she just walked right off the middle of the stairs. She never would have done that had she been awake. She would have gone to one wall or the other and grabbed the rail.
Why was she unconscious?
Because she had just blacked out. She got up from her chair. She went to walk. She blacked out, and then there was the girl who asked the guy if he really loved her, and he said, I love you more than anything. And she said, would you like climb a mountain for me? And he said, I would do anything for you. Of course I would climb the highest mountain for you. And she said, would you swim an ocean for me? And he said, I would cross the deepest and the broadest, and I would swim any ocean for you. And she said, would you die for me? And he said, no. Mine is an undying love.